So Rachel, over to you and how you can help people use LinkedIn better.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Rachel Toms. I'm the founder and owner of Orion Legal Marketing. And I'm going to give you a bit of background about my story because many moons ago, I myself was a solicitor. And I probably would have had some phobias. Well, without doubt, I did have phobias about social media. It's like, how can that play a part in my role in getting a job? How can it play a part in myself getting clients and getting noticed? I think the role of a lawyer from when I started back in 2000 has vastly changed as well. I think being a rainmaker is quite an important part, how you build connections with the community, how you build connections, how you refer, etc. I think all of this is vital. And somebody said to me, well, you need to be on LinkedIn, Rachel. And I said, well, why? If I want a LinkedIn, I'll go to somebody. If I want a job, I'll go to somebody like Clara and I'll go to a recruitment agency. Said, no. You need to be on there because it's how it shows you as a brand. You yourself are a brand. It shows people go beyond and look at your LinkedIn profile. It's one of the things that can be Googled. So when somebody looks for your name as a solicitor or a lawyer, then they'll find your LinkedIn profile. So that carries importance in itself. Again, it's important how we present ourselves and we give that vital first impression because it could be our LinkedIn profile that they see first. So it's important that we do give that look. And I'm going to go through with you in terms of keyword optimization because LinkedIn is linked with Google, the all powerful search engine. And therefore, there are ways you can help yourself come up higher for searches that we could be finding. Now, I think it's important to kind of think here what it was all about. The LinkedIn was started back in 2003, and they said it was to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And certainly going back to my journey, got a book, and I went and got some training over in America. Americans are very different in how they sell on LinkedIn, and I would say the word selling, but how they present themselves. So I think I probably had to water that down to some degree, but it's how we can get that when that momentary first glance, what we put in our headline, what we put in our about section. If you're a job seeker, this is your chance to be able to put so much more information about you, about what you stand for, how you can help your clients as lawyers. I think we need, so many people are fearful of LinkedIn. So hopefully going through this session, we can take away the fear factor and feel that this is a place where we can engage. And I would say, to be your authentic selves. There are some wonderful people out there on LinkedIn as lawyers who are really showing themselves and who are posting about themselves, what their work, if they can, provided it's not confidential, that they can talk about that. So when I was in the big city firms, in terms of marketing, we were able to have big budgets in terms of Google Ads, search engine optimization, etc. But I always wanted to work in a small practice and be part of the community, etc. So for me then, LinkedIn was a way of supplementing my networking activities. So being able to link with people once I meet them and build on that connection. I was able to put our firm's articles that I was writing onto LinkedIn and getting more visitors to our firm's website as a result. So definitely have a look at LinkedIn publishing and what that can do for you as well. But what they told me in America was about keywords, how I could put things on my title, how I could put things, how I could show that best presentation of myself. And what we discovered from looking at our Google Analytics was how much the time and effort that I was putting into LinkedIn was paying off in terms of getting website visitors and also getting more work. As we all know, time is precious being a lawyer. And it was time. How much time can I spend on LinkedIn without it affecting my billing and my targets, etc.? So what I learned was how to do things within 10 minutes a day and how to make it productive because clients can come and go. But if you're constantly connecting with them, the same as referrers, definitely what I found as well is thinking about perhaps a circle of trust or a line of trust in terms of connecting with people that can give you work. more than just connecting with an ideal client, but thinking about who can give you work and building that connection and keeping those people close to you. So I say LinkedIn as a tool is a way of keeping your referrers close, keeping your clients close to you, using that as a platform. But it is about having a strategy. As with all marketing, it's about thinking about what am I doing this for? What's the purpose? You know, who do I want to attract? Who do I want to connect with? What is going to be the message that I want to give? I often, sometimes, plan my content in terms of the month ahead and thinking about, okay, what do I want to say here? This is an important day. I'll look at what kind of days are going on in the calendar year, etc. What do I want to portray? What tips do I want to give in terms of marketing? It could be for yourselves as lawyers, the important cases that are coming up, the changes in the statute. You want to be seen as an expert. So therefore you need to be hopefully first in giving the news of what's going on. But it does need thought. The interesting question is how are you going to measure success? Now, people say to me, well, it's got to be the number of likes, etc., Rachel. You know, I've got to have hundreds of likes and I've got to go viral. That's not always a sign of success. Yes, great, more likes, the further your message gets, the LinkedIn knows that it's a popular post, etc. But often for myself, a lot of business goes on behind the scenes. It goes on my LinkedIn inbox in terms of that I'm perhaps sending a prospective client an article that I've seen that might be of interest to them. I'm connecting with them and having conversations. The great thing is that you are generally talking to that person. They generally control their LinkedIn profile rather than a PA if you're looking to deal with company directors or people higher up, if you're trying to get past gatekeepers, etc. And also it's about building friendship. There's many people that I've made friends with through LinkedIn and built that kind of sharing audience and promoting each other. I do believe that what goes around comes around, and if you can give and share other people's posts, that goes a long way. But you really need to have that thought, thinking about what do I want to get out of using LinkedIn? How is it going to help me? Who do I want to engage with? We said covered already, it's about brand building. It's your own profile, that of your firm. It gives you great information on your competitors. So again, you can look at your competitors and see what they're sharing, get ideas on what might work for you and your law firm. Gives you ideas of what's going on in the industry. It could be that you're seeing perhaps it might be barristers or judges sharing information, or people within the industry talking about what the latest developments are in the law. So it's a way of keeping up to date with industry trends. But it's about being visible. As we all know, we've got to keep ourselves visible and show that we are experts on that. Some statistics I thought were interesting. 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn encourage business decisions, and 33% of decision makers use LinkedIn to do their service and product research. And there are more than 58 million companies use LinkedIn. I mean, that would have changed within seconds, as it's vastly increasing. Your headline. Your headline is really, let's go back to the profile and look at what your profile was looking like. Your headline is really, really important, because that's what you're going to see on a search. And that's what LinkedIn uses as part of a search algorithm. Your company name, your law firm name, etc., is going to come up anyway in the search. So with those character counts in the headline, about 220 characters, I would say, don't use your company name like we've got here on the left-hand side. By all means, use your title, whether that's solicitor, paralegal, lawyer, barrister, etc. Whatever it is, use your title, but make it interesting, make it enticing. What do you do? How do you help your clients? Have you won any awards? Have you, what can you say that makes you sound authoritative and that somebody should trust you? I can see here Natalie's a good example in terms of how, apart from the fact she's used the company name, but she's put different areas of work that she does. So commercial litigation, insolvency, etc. So often we separate keywords on LinkedIn by having a space and then the dash. So thinking about what will people type in to find you? Will they put conveyancing lawyer? Will they put family or divorce lawyer? You know, who do you help? You know, do you just work with high net worth individuals? Do you work with companies? Are you only working with landlords rather than tenants? You know, how do you help them with their ultimate goals? Because that's what they want to know, prospective clients. How can you help them achieve their personal or professional goals? So use that headline to really maximize and entice for people to read further on your LinkedIn profile. One of the things in terms of what I've got on mine, it's LinkedIn trainer. So I want to be found as a LinkedIn trainer, and I do legal marketing. Is who are the people I want to attract? So the people I want to attract are solicitors, barristers, and mediators. So that's my keyword packing in there with that. And also what I do. So I help lawyers to attract, engage, and retain clients. So this is important, this headline. Go away and think about what you can change in that to make people sit up and take notice. There are two modes on LinkedIn that you can go into. Got the normal mode, and then what we've got what we call a creator mode. So if you do decide, if you go into your settings, you'll be able to decide which one that you have. If you go into a creator mode, then you would have like a follow button. So rather than a connect, you're also able to make use of hashtags. So you can see in this example where Ben has got hashtags of TBI, concussion, brain injury, etc. So it gives you extra functionality on there. And also you could be eligible then to be featured as a suggested creator. If LinkedIn notices that you're doing lots of interesting posts, you've got LinkedIn Live and a LinkedIn newsletter as well, if you meet the criteria. So there's lots of advantages. Have a play around and see which mode you would like your profile to be in. The other important thing, again, in terms of using this platform as advertising your services, advertising your business, is having a LinkedIn banner. So this is my banner in terms you can see that I've got my two businesses. I've got my Links to Leads, which is my LinkedIn training and LinkedIn profile writing business, and I've got Orion Legal Marketing. So I've got two, you can see both logos, both of my businesses, etc. But if you didn't have that, then you've just got this grey kind of swirly blurb there. I call this space valuable advertising space. If you're a job seeker, it could be, might be the High Court, Royal Courts of Justice, it might be a court, it might be a book, it might be, or make it something interesting. Think about what that banner could symbolize for you. Ideally, you want to be thinking about what is the messaging. These are other LinkedIn banners that we've created for our clients. And you can see with PGS Law, for example, they've got their slogan, which is guidance you can trust. And they've got their website address. Beckett Chambers, they are specialist civil and family barristers in Kent and Sussex. So clear messaging, clear logo. Same with Charles Coleman again, they've got what their logo, what they do, providing professional and friendly legal services in Windsor. But it is there, it fills that space, it gives you, people then are thinking about your messaging, what you do, what can you offer them. Key thing that people forget is your contact information. Often people move jobs and forget and go, oh, by the way, because I'm often looking when I first connect to them and say, oh, by the way, you might not realize, but you've got your old firms, the details on there, etc. So do go back and check what you are showing in your contact information. One key thing as well in terms of what we've got is your LinkedIn profile URL. So if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, or have never altered or played with this, and you can do that through the pencil section, is that you want to check what it says. If you've never altered it, then it will have linkedin.com/in/ and then it will have your name, but probably a load of numbers or gobbled up words, etc. So immediately go in and then put your name. If you can't get it, because you might be like Paul Smith, for example, and that name has been taken, then look at, maybe you could put Paul Smith, commercial lawyer, or Paul Smith, landlord, landlord solicitor, or thinking about keyword optimization that you could put in there as well. But make the use of that, because it does play a part in search engine optimization, or certainly, help making more visible to be found. You can have websites. You can have up to 3 websites that you can feature on your profile. So you could have the home page, you could have your bio page, and you could have one of your main services pages, something that's really important to you. So make use of what you can put on your profile. Check your phone number. Check now. Most often than not, many of you might be showing your personal email address, and you can absolutely have your LinkedIn profile linking to your personal address rather than a work one. You can have 2 email addresses. So in the settings, you can have that as your primary one, but in open facing to the public, when someone looks at your contact information, they can see your law firm's details, because ideally they found your LinkedIn profile, they like what you say about yourself, and then they're thinking, right, well, I want to pick up the phone to Natalie or Louise or Stephen, etc. So make sure you make it easy for people to contact you on there. You might want to add your X or Twitter details, and you don't have to, but you could put your birthday. It doesn't include your year, but it would include your month and your date, and then your connections will be notified on their notifications when it's your birthday, etc. Oh yeah, that is the example of what you could see with the BSB there, what it would be if you haven't modified or customized your URL. Being easy to contact, we've just talked about that. The all important about section. So again, this is your chance to say about why a client would work with you. What do you do? And it's got to be hitting first off, because you've probably only got the first 65 characters to be able to be seen without it saying read more on there. So it's thinking, what do you do? Can you put that into a sentence? You might want to use some emojis. Some people, emojis are pretty popular, so you might want to use something like that. Or you might thinking about making it bullet pointed, again, easy to read. What is the key messaging? Who do you want to attract? It might not be so like, I went to X university and I did the LPC here, or I did this, etc. That information can come further down in the education section. So it's thinking about what the results you achieve for your clients and how you help them. Is it that you will answer the phone promptly? You're always there. Communication is really important. Communication is absolutely vital. That is what most clients complain about. So do you make a promise or a guarantee? Do you give something like fixed fees? So again, they have certainty as to costs. Do they, how open and transparent are you on your pricing? It's thinking about in your marketing message, what do you do that makes yourself and your firm different on there? So you can promote your firm in the about and experience section. You can create some blurb that can be distributed amongst your colleagues and used. So it's really making use of these 2,000 characters that we've got to be able to promote ourselves. I also like the fact that you've got a featured section. So, if it's a job seeker, you can put your CV in there. You could do a video about yourselves. Again, video is a brilliant forum, and it's something that I do think most lawyers should try and embrace, because it allows prospective clients to see you and to kind of make think, well, I really like how he or she sounds, etc. So I find that interesting, so therefore I'm going to reach out to them. You might have written some downloads, you might have written some really interesting articles, you might have done a good PowerPoint presentation, etc. So make the most of these featured items to add depth to your LinkedIn profile and show people about yourself and about what you can offer. So there's many examples that you could add on there, and you can move them around, etc. You know, when one becomes out of date and you want to add something new on there. But this is a place for you to show. It could be like sort of recent case, etc. Articles. Adding media, the links to your YouTube, Vimeo, your PowerPoints, and your photos. You might have been an award winner and there's a photo of you at the event. Well, then add that, something that you're really proud of, add that in the featured sections. And you can also add that into your experience section. So there's many places that you can add media and fill out what is on your LinkedIn profile. Even in the experience section, you want to think about keyword optimization. So for here, we've got legal marketing and business development expert, again, for solicitors, barristers, and mediators, and UK wide. So you might want to think about your location. You may be area specific. You may just be in a certain part of the country where you get your clients from, or it might be that you do certain areas of law. It might be that you do business immigration, and it could be that you do lots of sponsor or spouse visa applications for immigration. So think about what type of work you really want to attract on this headline. Again, be mindful of that top section where people will then have to press and to go to see more. This is your chance to put your best foot forward, to make use of this space rather than just leaving it empty on there. Skills and endorsements. Well, when LinkedIn, back, I would say quite a few years ago, it used to be that you'd come onto LinkedIn, you'd log onto it, and then you'd see, oh, do you want to endorse these 4 people for these skills? And they've kind of lost their way, I think, in terms of their relevance, but they do still have keyword optimization to be thinking about. So you can have up to 50 skills. You might be struggling and thinking, well, I don't know if I'm that talented, I've got 50, but LinkedIn does help you. If you start putting in legal, for example, you'll find lots of options come up. You'll find legal writing, legal advocacy, legal drafting. You know, LinkedIn will help you to doing some of the guesswork as to what you might put as skills. It used to be your top 10, it's now your top 3, so that people can see in there. So again, you can constantly click and drag and move these around so people can see. They do play a part in being found. So if you want to be found for commercial law, immigration law, etc., then think about the terms, those keywords. And, you know, probably good policy is endorse others, and hopefully what goes around comes around, and then you'll get endorsements as well, which will help you to come up to be found for whatever, you know, whichever profession, part of the profession you're in. Recommendations, really, really important. When I set out my business as Orion Legal Marketing, and something I definitely say to my marketing clients is, we can't escape recommendations and how important they are. I do realise that some professions like family law, for example, employment law, they can be sensitive. So it's been more difficult for certain practitioners to get recommendations. Well, even for a private client law, I guess, as well, because many of the clients might not be using LinkedIn. But you could have your referrer people, perhaps, might be like mortgage advisors or estate agents, etc., that could do recommendations for you. There could be other people, if not directly clients. It could also be your boss. It could be your colleagues as well, that you do this with. So I made it a clear policy when I set up business to get as many recommendations as possible, to show social proof that I can do what I say I do. So I make it a policy that I do gather those recommendations, and I use them on my website. I use them in our social media. They again, so try and think about who you could reach out to. The difference with LinkedIn recommendations is that it's not like Google. You have to accept the recommendation on your profile. You can ask for it to be edited as well at any point. So you have control, unlike Google and other platforms, that you do have control over what's written about you on recommendations. Being visible, do go and have a look in your settings and check, because you might not realize that your photo might not be visible until you connect. Your name might not be properly shown. When you go into your settings, check and see what your visibility is like. Who are you showing? What are you showing this to? This isn't Facebook, so in my mind, everything should be able to be searchable, to be found on your LinkedIn profile here. Also, thinking about when you're a job seeker, use the open to work functionality, so you can pick that setting on there. The other thing I was just thinking about as well is the profile photo. Just there have been some real shockers that I've seen in terms of profile photos. It is putting your best foot forward, so I can't stress highly enough how important it is to invest in a professional photograph, clear head and shoulders shot of you, and that represents you best. It really does. People can tell when it's been just done with a background in the kitchen or something like that. This is, you don't, you charge a lot because you're worth a lot. The photo needs to show that as well.
I think sometimes as well, you get people where sometimes people will crop like a wedding photo down or something like this,
Yeah.
and you can see hands on their shoulders and things like this, and you think, oh, it's just not like you say. It's for the forum, you want it to be right, don't you?
Absolutely. In terms of that, so it's, you need to think about it. You can go to, there's many people that do professional headshots. I can recommend many people. There's you don't have to spend a fortune. You can go to Snappy Snaps, but thinking about how you look, in terms there. So it's really, really important, that first impression. We're just going to very quickly talk about Clara, have I got, in terms of time, are we fine
You're
on
sort of
there?
you're half past, so that's fine. There's plenty of time for questions as well. So say any questions that you want answered later, just pop them in the chat box as well, and we'll get to them in the fullness of time.
Okay, that's fine. And posting is thinking about, just very quickly, thinking about how and what you post. It's a part of your LinkedIn strategy. When I'm working with a client and thinking about what is going to be the message, how are we going to convey this, what mediums are we going to use? Is it going to be video? Is it going to be image, etc.? There's some statistics here as well. Better to have an image. Again, you can visually see, like it or not, when you put yourself, it probably is going to get more attention, because people instantly going through their feed would see you. Although I would encourage it to not be the you show constantly. I do see some that do engage in that, and I think, as we probably said, it becomes a little bit tiresome. But definitely, you've got to have some of you in there. And talk about that. A question. See, the thing is, if you're just going to make a statement, then all somebody can do is like it. But if you're asking a question, then you're getting the algorithm thinking, people will then add. LinkedIn wants to see more comments, wants to see you engaging, so that they know that post is popular. So it's thinking about that. It's an 80-20 ratio of engaging, and just use a combination of things and see what works on there. What I'd encourage you to do is, please, by all means, connect with me on LinkedIn. We've got a mailing list where we can send you the latest legal marketing updates on Orion Legal Marketing. There's some downloads, the 10 do's and don'ts of LinkedIn that you can see. And don't forget, when you're out and about, you've got the LinkedIn QR code. And I'm certainly using that last night when I was out and about. I still got my business cards, but we've normally always got our phone with us. So you find that by going into the search part, where you're searching somebody's name, and then the right hand side, there'll be like the cube. And then with that, you'll be able to then pick, like here on the left hand side, the my code. One of you has the code and one of you has the scan. You don't automatically become connected, but you have the option of connecting with that person. So you never need to worry about whether you've got your business cards or not. But what I would say is, try and embrace LinkedIn. This is just like an overview in terms of your profile. Think about your strategy, where you're going to go, what your messaging is.
Fantastic. No, I think that's all such good information, and I think it is having that strategy, knowing what you're trying to achieve, and having a focus. Because I think, as you said, you don't want it to just sort of be about you. It's not Facebook. You don't want to detail, every meal you've had, but if you're out networking and there was interesting content there and this sort of thing, then by all means take a picture of your lovely meal at the lovely hotel and then talk about the content of the talk that you listen to. It's that sort of balance, isn't it? So it's not, you don't want endless selfies, but you do want to sort of show the world in which you live, and the things that you do, all about, I suppose, proving that you are that expert and proving that you are, going to be helpful to people as and when they pick up the phone to you ultimately.
I think it's a professional platform, but COVID has really changed LinkedIn. It's because it used to be what I would call, that platform would be where you put a tuxedo on and you'd be going to a dinner party. But I think we're much more relaxed now, probably in terms of how we are. What perhaps when somebody was saying to me, they dressed last night, they were saying to me how they dress for their workplace. So it has ventured beyond that. People do share their dogs, their cats. There is a lot being shared. But I think maybe if you can share something like that and think about how you can swing it back round to your business somehow, when you put something like that, how maybe walking the dog helps clear your head, and then you have some great ideas about thinking about what you do in your business, etc. So you could still share a bit about the fact that you are a dog owner, but that you still bring it back to the business side of things.
Yeah. And I like you said about how you personally cut it down to sort of 10 minutes a day, because it's one of these things, isn't it? It's as long as a piece of string. I mean, you could spend all day on LinkedIn, liking and commenting and drafting things, and you have to sort of think. But again, I guess if you have your purpose, like you said, if you know what you're trying to achieve, then actually 10 minutes a day, taking a few steps towards what you're trying to achieve, is going to keep you relevant and keep you on track.
I think it's planning your content, planning that strategy as to how you want to be, getting your LinkedIn profile and constantly reviewing it. Even today, I was thinking, do you know what? Things have changed even within the year or so with my business, with how I am. It's a bit like your website. Going back every 3 months, putting it in your diary, every 3 or 4 months, review LinkedIn profile, review website, and then thinking what has changed in how I want to portray myself, how I want to portray the business, and then thinking, right, well, I'll plan ahead with my posts, and I'll engage with other people. I know we all get busy and have time off, but it's a two-way process. It's social media for a reason. So you have to spend that time in terms of liking and sharing other people's posts. It can't be just one way. I'm just going to post about Orion all the time. You've got to share your other, even if you just repost, you've got to, support your connections and your community.
Absolutely. And like you say, it's that sociability. And you mentioned video, and we use quite a lot of video in our recruiting, actually, whether we're doing sort of, we might send a CV along with a little video of someone talking to sort of bring their CV to life. and we might do, well, at the moment I'm doing some headhunting, and so I've got a video of the hiring manager talking about what they want that I can send out to people. And I think however you use video, everyone's scared of it initially. It's horrible. Nobody likes seeing themselves on camera. But when you do use it, you just get through a couple of boundaries straight away, because people get to know you, don't they? It's that sort of, it brings you to life and it makes you a real person rather than sort of a scary figure online, or just the written word. And yes, but who will I, if I pick up the phone, who will I talk to? Whereas if you're sort of expecting a face and a voice and a name and all that sort of thing, people do, I think, just, get to know people quicker if they've seen, a video.
I think we're so critical as well of ourselves. We're always our worst person to go, oh, looking through photos of last night, going, oh, don't know if I like that photo of me, but hey, it's going to have to go out there. We went to that event. I'm going to have to get over that, etc. But there's so much business, that I, as a lawyer, was able to, because people had that know, like, and trust factor. They often say it's like 7 to 20 touch points. So people would constantly see you, and then people would reach out to me and say, well, Rachel, can you help me with this litigation matter that I've got? Because you've built that up. You might have met them at some networking event, but they constantly see you come up on their feed. They've got the trust factor, and they're thinking, he or she, etc., really knows what they're talking about. So therefore, I am going to engage with them. So I think, like I said, the inbox can often be, what your outward is, it's often what's going on behind the scenes and how you're building your connections. Because you see them at networking events, the cards, it used to be like the cards going out left, right, and center. That is not how you've got to make it. You've got to constantly nurture these relationships.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with the inbox, because, of course, obviously what I do is a lot of recruitment and people moving from one role to another. It's all very confidential and all the rest of it. So people don't necessarily want to engage with me right on LinkedIn in front of everyone about what they're trying to achieve or what they wanted to do. But, people will message me, obviously, and say, this is my situation, or can we have a chat, or that kind of thing. And I guess that's what's good about it, is that you've got that public platform, but then, like you say, you've got the inbox as well, where you can sort of continue conversations quietly off to the side as well. So it serves a lot of purposes like that.
I guess you'll be looking at the open to work, because you would see that again of the LinkedIn recruiter package, and also how people, what they've put in their headlines, when you're doing your search, what they've put. Because it could be, many people could put like HR professional, human resources. So you've got to think about how people would describe you to find you. And again, that's part of thinking carefully about, what am I going to make sure that however people might describe me, they'll be able to find me through my profile, because I've used not just shorthand description, I've put it in there.
Sure. Yeah. No, absolutely. Fabulous. Well, no, that's great. I mean, we haven't had any questions coming in, but we've got lots of people still listening. So I think that everyone's finding it useful. I hope that is the case. Rachel, I have a monthly update that we send out as well as an email. So if you'd like to, keep receiving that, just let us know. We'll drop you an email after the event anyway, with a copy of the recording and to people that didn't attend. And then, as I said, it does go up on YouTube in a few days once we've formatted a bit differently. And you can keep in touch with us. So do keep in touch with both of us. Do link with us both on LinkedIn if we're not already connected. And thanks for coming. And Rachel, thanks for coming along and sharing your wisdom. That's been great.
My pleasure.